Rigsters here. I'm back, and now I've learned a lot from the deaths. So what I'm gonna do today is start an attempt to finish, because I've realized I'm really bad at finishing series at times. A series on this particular niche: shipbuilding, planes, and tanks from the depths. I've learned quite a lot from the depths over the past month and a half since I was kind of life got busy with lots of different stuff I was doing. So now I will make this kind of like a quasi guide slash an attempt of building a real life battleship, the Richelieu from World War II, in the configuration of like the latest generation mark that the French built. Reason being that at least it would be somewhat usable in From the Depths, because From the Depths way the meta and stuff works is much differently than real life. That is why. So to get started, I'm gonna press destroy all vehicles in creative mode, so I have a fresh canvas. Yes, we're gonna delete everything and hit resume. So just like in my keyboard based building videos, some of the stuff I said there kind of still applies, but I'm going to be going a new direction. So the block floats into the air so it doesn't constantly bob in the ocean. And let's see here. So to get started, I need to build a base and a foundation, which is not hard to do. So I press E here to switch my blocks. And I want to use metal because I want the ship to sink a little bit. They don't float as well as wood or light alloy. So you gotta take into that into account. Then click on there. And so I'm not constantly pressing E and cycle it into there. I'm gonna hotkey all these beams and slopes up to 1 to 0. That is based on the default key bindings. So first you want to get beam 4 meter, 3 meter, with 1 and 2 respectively. I'm going to put 3 on 2, 4 on 1, 5 on slope. Go to transitions, and this transition blocks really help a lot, by the way. I did not know about this until I was learning from others as well. And click on that here. And the one you want that I found the most useful is the 1 meter offset left. You can also do the ones on the right, but I prefer the ones on the left because it's easier to orientate. Let's see, you're up to 5. Go to 6 and 7. There, that's enough for now. So I press escape to close out of that. So now I want to make sure I face the camera with the mouse forward right here. Press 1 and hit left alt N, and I'm going to build this block series to, I think I'll build it 15 blocks forward. So what I mean by that is I just simply click 15 times. So now that we're 15 blocks forward, you might be wondering, well, why didn't I hold down the left mouse button to build that faster? The reason being that it's easier to control when you have single clicking than holding down, because if I hold down, it builds that quickly by default. Well, not necessarily entirely by default, but I have it set to build really quickly. And for the width of the metal beams, in this particular case, I'm going to make it, let's see here, that's 15 long. Let's make it 14 wide. So to get that to work here, so they build on both sides so I don't have to hand peck everywhere, you hold down left alt N at the same time. They'll orientate the mirror mode to face in the center of the blocks you're building. So I gotta click this 14 times, and to make sure before you do that, always orient the camera to face the direction intended, because in mirror mode things get messy real quick. Okay, so now we made it 14 blocks wide. So we're gonna continue it down here. This time I'm gonna hold down the mouse button and make sure the camera is facing this way. And this is where the game can get really confusing very quickly, so you gotta really watch when you build this fast. Because, as you can see, I almost nearly missed where I want the blocks to actually be placed. Right there. Okay. So now that I got that there, I want to aim the blocks that are at the last edge here to connect to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use WASD keys because it's keyboard based, and aim the camera to the right here. It will build on the opposite quarter. So when I click once here, it will build the blocks here as well. I want to make sure I connect those, like so. So now we have those connected. Now what you could do next is just manually fill these in, but since I have these sides perfectly connected now, and I make sure I have the mirror mode still turned on, mirror mode is very useful for this kind of stuff. We're gonna move the camera so it faces downwards like this, and press letter F for Frank. And then when I move the camera up, you'll hear that it clicked. And look at that. Filled up the gaps. So using the Frank key to fill in gaps like that is extremely useful. And believe me, it saves you a lot of time. Because if you don't do stuff like that, this game can take a lot longer to master and build, for that matter. So the next thing you want to do is press E here. We're going to build a chair, so that way when I'm messing around with the advanced cannon systems, I don't keep falling off the boat and having to go on the map. So you want to press E and go into control. I generally prefer the elevated chair. And if you want, you can keep mirror mode on, but I usually turn it off when I build chair. Chair. That's pretty funny, build chair. You build chair because it sets more than one spawn point, which can sometimes cause confusion in multiplayer at times. You're allowed to build more than one chair if you want, though. So there we go. Build a chair there. That allows you to spawn, and if you press Q with the mouse hovering over it, your character will now spawn here anytime you fall off the boat or it blows up. So press E again. There's two more things I want to add here under control. A fire control computer, so it allows you to manually test fire without having to walk up to the guns. And it kind of works also like the next object I'll talk about real briefly is the ship's wheel. I usually put that near the fire control. I'll put it like a little bit to the side here, just to make it look a little better. What this does is this allows you to manually drive the propellers as well. So now that we got those there, let's see here. So that's pretty much the basics of what I'm going to go through for this particular video. I just basically wanted to show you kind of what the thought process is when you start a base build. And since this is going to be like a Battleship Richelieu, or at least an attempt to make a somewhat of a replica of it, because I'm bad at art. I really am. I could build anything you want as long as it's cute. It is a challenge to get circles to work in this game, as you'll later see. So, with that in mind, I'm gonna wrap this particular part up, and then I'll start discussing the advanced cannons on the next one. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rigsters' Journey, signing off.